I'm going to show you how to service the big piston fork here at the OTT studio. What do you need to do that? Well, you need obviously some kind of vise. We use the Motion Pro soft jaw suspension vise, which is an incredibly useful tool. You will also need a tool for the cap to undo the cap, and then you'll need several other tools that we'll show as we get into it. Some are extremely specialized just for this fork, just like the cap tool. Once we get into the fork, then we'll show you how to disassemble it, how to take the oil out, measure what came out, know where to go from there. And there is a very unique reassembly process with this particular fork. So let's get started. So we'll break the cap free and then loosen it up by hand. And then we'll go ahead and sit it in place. Now you can see the cap. What's very unusual for everybody that's seen the inside of both telescopic and upside down forks is that there should be a spacer here, and there is not. So that's the first most important visual change that you'll recognize right away. So the next thing is to remove the cap. For that you will require a 17 and a 19 millimeter wrench. So we'll put the wrenches in place. We're going to remove the cap, so we'll move them away from each other and then simply remove the cap. Now you'll see two things here. Most of us that work in the industry recognize the rebound rod, but then there is also a second rod. And as you notice on the cap of a big piston fork, there is a compression adjuster and a rebound adjuster. So the screws actually work each of these independently. So that's another big visual difference. We need to remove the rebound rod and the compression rod. May as well keep those together if you can. Now it's very difficult to see, so we're going to give you a shot from a different angle here. But the internal components now consist of an inner cylinder and the rebound rod that goes through that cylinder. The oil is actually visible from this angle. So let's disassemble it further. To do that, we need a special tool. It's an Allen, which will sit inside the cartridge. Now the fork upper is held by the Motion Pro vise here. In order to turn this to get the internal component out, we need to lock in the lower leg. Now the suspension vise comes with a bar that goes through the axle slot, which will allow us to hold the lower in place while we go ahead, loosen, and then remove our internal piece here. Now while the fork is hanging and dripping, we have a good opportunity and some time to look at all the components and clean them, as well as inspect them. So I'm going to take what we pulled out of the bottom of the fork and clean that up here with parts cleaner, and then we're going to go through our upper components that go in the upper part of the fork tube itself, inspect and clean those and make sure there's nothing that's got any signs of damage at all.